Okay, what the hell have we got here then, Jim? Well, basically, it's a 1972 Sony amp that I bought when I was a kid, played brilliantly for 20 odd years, and then suddenly packed up. So I ended up stripping it out and thinking, what the hell am I going to do with this box? Now, with my condition, I had a lot of time to look things up on the old internet, and what I decided to do was to put what I wanted to do is the system I wanted was to be able to program a mash, if you like, and I looked up what you can do, and there's a couple of systems out there which are free to download and set up using a Raspberry Pi. So that's what I decided to do, and basically I've got a box with great air vents, which is lovely. I'll put two sockets on the back, 13 amp sockets. I've got two, these are microphone inputs that I bought from China, and they're for my 12 volt pumps. And then on the front here lot, I just drilled a few extra holes, and these are me temperature whatsits, and they just plug in and out, my temperature sensors. I've got just a toggle switch to switch off the pumps if need be in an emergency. So one for the left hand pump, which goes around the HLT, and the other one for the mash pump. And then these knobs, which used to be the volume, etc. I've fitted I suppose a variable resistors, I guess, which you can turn that to whatever voltage that you want to go through your pump, so from 0 to 12 volts, and everything is controlled by the Raspberry Pi. Okay, so let's have a look at this bad boy. So I've taken the lid off, it's just 4 screws in the side, and inside I've got the solid state relays, 2 to control the boiler when you boil it, and the other is to control the HLT. I don't want them both on at the same time, so it's programmed not to do that, else it'll fuse. I've got a fuse thingy there, so that'll click off if there's any problems. And there's me adjuster for the 12 volts, 0 to 12 volts, and I've got another one down here somewhere there. Fan in the middle, down there, look, to circulate it, and it comes out the top perfectly well. And that's it basically. Okay, so getting the brew on the go. And I've just filled in the hot liquor tank for the sparge water. The mash tun, I've put 10 litres in there about. And this very ingenious way of seeing how much water I've got in my HLT. So I'm looking at 24 litres. So I shall fill it up to 24, and then I shall switch on what shall I call it? The fart Wi-Fi? I'll think of a name better than that. Anyway, let's continue filling the HLT up. Okay, it's ignition for the first time on a brew. I have tried it in the past to see if the software's working, but let's see what happens. So let's switch on. And what's it up here? and see what happens on the old screen. All you can see is me. Hey up, here we go. Bit reflective, isn't it? Let's move over there. Even worse. Let's move there. And just press this icon. Hopefully it should load up. Hopefully. Something's happening now, I guess. Here we go. So it's Craftbeer PI, and this is version 3. And close that down a bit. Close that down. So yeah, that's it. These are all the temperatures of the different things. That's the temperature in the HLT at the moment. That's the mash kettle temperature, and the boil kettle, this is just ambient temperature in the room, I guess. And then over this side is like a menu of what's going to happen next. So if we put it on automatic, press that little car, press that little car, press the pumps, and we should have ignition. So let's turn this on. That started that pump round. So that's circulating, and just start recirculating on the HLT. There we go. These are the temperature probes. So I've got one for the HLT, one for the sparge, which is at the top there, look. One for the mash that goes into the mash tun, just dropped in there, look. And one for the boil when I get boiling. It's just there at the moment. So at the moment it's raising the dough to dough in temperature, which will take a while, I guess. So later. Right, that's how we're going then. So at the moment then I'm 52.64 in the old HLT. The mash, what's the mash? 50.19, and the boil kettle, that's just ambient temperature because I haven't got me probing anything. And so I'm trying to raise it to 68 degrees because it's fairly warm today and the grain's fairly warm, I guess. So I'll weigh out the grains and get cracking. Near mashing temperature. It's 67.51, as you can see. The mash tun is 65.63, so I'm going to let them, if you like, settle down so they're pretty much the same. And that flashing on and off is the heater element in the hot liquor tank. So it's just switching it on and off to get it at an even temperature. All good stuff. So like I say, I'll leave it until it settles and we'll mash in. Okay, I'm ready to dough in. It did reach temperature. It's because the temperature's dropping because I've switched off the pumps. So I'm just going to dough in, and then it says here, look, step reached. So press the button to continue. So once I've doughed in, I'll press the button to continue. So let's dough in. Okay, so I've doughed in. Remember the motto, You don't get any prizes for doing in fast or mashing in fast or whatever it's bloody called. Just do it nice and slow. The slower the better. Plenty of stirring, and you'll get great efficiency. Okay then, so what I'm going to do now is start circulating again. Switch the temperature on, and I started circulating. The temperature obviously went down on the mash tun until it starts circulating, and we'll go on to the next step. So you have to press that button there. Next step. So the next step is circulating at 66 degrees. So we need that and that the same if we can get it. So I'll just slow down the recirculation on the... I just want it going through nice and gently on that, so a bit hard to film at the same time, so turn it down a bit more. Yeah, that'll do, mate. That'll do, mate. And of course the boiler keeps flicking on and off because it's nearing 66 degrees. The temperature's being controlled by this baby, so it's the temperature that's coming out of the ERMS coil that's being monitored and switching this baby on and off. It's not the lead that goes inside the hot liquor tank, so that's the controlling one. The other one is just in the grain bed, and obviously it's recirculating round. So we've still got some way to go to get it up to 66. Now it's settling down. So I'll come back later when we reach the recirculation temperature of 66. Sorry if I'm being a bit boring, but at the moment it's recirculating. I wanted to do it for about an hour and a half, and it's on 1 hour and 6 minutes to go. The temperature in the HLT 66, which is good, and in the mash kettle it's 66, which is what I'm looking for. Flashing on and off, switching the old boiler on and off, which is pretty cool. Let's see how we do. I'm a bit too fast at the moment. I'm going to slow it down. Look, it's all foamy, so I'm going to slow it down on the volume control. A bit more, I think. Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, so far so good with the first brew. I have tried it in the past, but not brewing, just sort of circulating the water and everything, see if it actually works, and they're a bit dodgy for a start, but it seems to be working okay at the moment, so fingers crossed. So I'm really pleased at the moment. It's coming to the end of the recirculation. The temperature has been pretty constant, 66.01, 66.06. It's flicking in and out. We've got another couple of minutes, 2.5 minutes before it goes to mash out. So hopefully it'll flick on to mash out and build this temperature up to the mash out temperature. So I'll come back in a minute and see if it does click over. Still going nicely on that. Okay, I've also got a temperature probe inside the box to make sure that it's not getting too hot in there. So if you look at these temperatures down here, the case temperature 26.69, which is inside here. which is about 4 degrees higher than the room temperature, which is the sensor I've got that's not in anything. So keeping it quite cool. We're coming to about 30 seconds before it should start to change and go into the mash out. So I'll just visit along a bit quick and then I'll let you have a look, see if it works. Okay, so I'm going to do 78 the temperature. It says the mash steps completed there, so we'll cancel that out and let it mash out. And the heater elements come on constantly in the boiler now. So let's mash out and then we'll start the sparge. Like I say, sorry to bore you, but we're approaching mash out temperature. It's got to reach 78, 77.51. Hopefully when it reaches the temperature, this will click in and start a timer for how long we've got to mash out for, and then it goes on to the sparge. Can't remember how I set that up, the sparge. Anyway, hopefully it'll click on any second. There we go. So we've got 15 minutes of mashing out to do, and hopefully the mash kettle will reach 78 in that time. So the sparge water, which is not sparge water, the recirculation of the old beer is being measured going in again. So let's mash out. Coming up to sparge time, so I've just switched the 2 pumps off and this should swap over now. Wham! So sparging for half an hour. I think it's a little bit more than that, so let's start sparging. So I've swapped the pipe over from pumping round, so it's going to start emptying the HLT and start sparging the grain. So I've switched that on, I've switched that off, and we'll start sparging. So we'll switch that off, and no, told you wrong. Switch that off, switch that on. So that should turn clear shortly once we've got all the beer out of the system, and then I'll turn it right down and we'll start sparging. And there we go, to white. So let's turn that right down to a trickle. Perhaps a bit much, but we'll see how it settles, and start pouring it into see what level we're at. That'll do. So let's sparge away. So I've put the boil temperature gauge into the boiler there, and I think it's got a couple of minutes before it switches the boiler on after the half hour of sparging. So I'm going to continue sparging, then hopefully it should kick in and start bringing it to the boil. And we've got 1.25. The temperature, the sparge temperature is 69.51. The mash kettle is 72, nearly 73. I suppose the temperature's falling. And the boil kettle 65. So in another minute it should switch the heater element on the boil kettle, and I'm hoping it doesn't switch the HLT element on, the two together, which it shouldn't do. If it does, it'll fuse. Oops. There we go, so the boil elements come on, and we're working on this one now. The HLT element's gone off, stayed off, which is good, and it's now switched on, as you can hear, hopefully. So I'll come back when we've reached a boil. Next phase. Yeah, so it's going to bring it to the boil, and we need to add in the hops then, and see how it goes. So it's set at 99, so I think it's set at 99, so we get a tepid boil, or not a vigorous boil. If it's not a vigorous boil, I'll override it so it is any road up. Okay, so it's reached the next step at 99 degrees. So at the moment it's just a gentle boil, not a vigorous boil. I don't know whether to leave it at just a gentle boil. I think that's what I'll do, because the timer's started now at about an hour and a half, as near as damn it, for boiling. So I'll leave it at that and see how it goes. Well, actually it's a pretty damn vigorous boil, and it's just at about 100.6, so it's keeping boiling. So I'll wait till it cools down a bit and whack in the old opperoos. And I'm doing my favourite ale, because I'm bloody gagging. I can't wait for it to come out. And it's my Marston Pedigree clone. It's my favourite brew, using East Kent Goldings and Fuggle hops, nice and simples, and let's see how we get on. Well, I've had a really good day today. Been a long day, but a good day, and I've come into the end of my first brew in 7 months, and using the Brew PI system, which is very, very good. I'm just finishing the boil now. I've just added the late edition hops, and then it'll be flame out time, so an hour and a half, fair bit of evaporation there, and I'm going to try and use the cube to cool it down. But we've got 1 minute 30 seconds, a minute and a half before it switches off, so yeah, it's working very well. Like I say, I've used it in the past with water and tried it out, and had to twiddle about a bit to get it to work right, but yeah, it's free to download, it's open source, and compliments to the creators or creator of Craft Brew. This is the Craft Brew version 3. Hope you've enjoyed my video, and thanks for watching. Don't forget, if you like my video, don't forget to subscribe, press the like button. Thanks very much. Let's have a look, see if we're nearly there. There we go, 38. I'll fast forward it, then hopefully it should switch that boil element off and flame out into the cube. Hey, flame out time. Anyway, thanks once again, and see you soon.